Hello there, Leo. Happy New Year for 2021. Let's keep our fingers crossed that it's a lot more happy than the last 12 months. And what I want to do over the next 10 minutes is give you a brief overview of what I think are the thematic areas of your life. I've done a 3,000 word forecast for you with all the different departments of life at the site. I'll tell you about that later. But rather than detailing date after date after date in this overview, I'd like to just focus on, for example, the North Node, the Great Conjunction that took place recently and will continue to affect you throughout the coming 12 months. And of course, the North Node shows us where most of your karma is being directed right now. The South Node and the North Node. North Node is where the desires are going to play out, and that's fueled to a large extent by the impressions of your past life. And I mean that in terms of where you've been in this life, and if you subscribe to the doctrine of reincarnation, it's going to tell us a lot about where you were in the previous life or how this is going to play out. Now, the 11th house in which the North Node is moving now is your house of friendship, elder siblings, and most importantly, your life desires. So 2021 for you is really a period when you can materialize what it is you've been looking to achieve. And one thing I wanted to mention, and to tie this in with, is this grand conjunction of Jupiter and Saturn, which took place and is still taking place. Jupiter is separating now, as you can see, at 2 degrees here from 1 degree on Saturn. But as these two planets move in their normal course, the nodes move in a somewhat retrograde manner for most of the time, these sets of planets are going to make a trine aspect. I'm probably jumping the gun here, but you're going to feel a build-up of energy here in this 7th house to your 11th house. The 7th house is your principal relationships. Jupiter makes a few very interesting aspects straight off the bat. On the 18th of January, it's in that square aspect. And I want to talk about this square aspect because Uranus is still hovering there right at the apex of your horoscope, Leo. That's the working component of your life. That's the area of your life that determines your reputation, your achievements, and it is rightfully so the house of karma, what the Vedic astrologers call karma sthana. And so you see that the ruler of that sector is here in the 5th house. You've got the relationships playing out with the North Node, or the karmic desires. You've got the planet Venus ruling your career here in this creative area with the South Node, your past karma. And we've mentioned the right angle of Jupiter to Uranus, showing very sudden and abrupt changes as this square or 90 degree or right angle takes place. 18th of January. Then we see later it does a retrograde motion after it moves to the sign of Pisces here, the 8th house, which is the zone of shared resources and intimacy, on the 14th of May. Then on the, let's have a look here, the 28th of July, it actually retrogrades back into Aquarius. It only spends a little bit of time in there. And that, I think, has a bit to, if we're talking about the personal side of your life, this is going to show us the intimacy that develops there, but then all of a sudden the nature of the relationship. When that planet retrogresses back into this 7th house, it's as if it's forgotten something. Jupiter is expansive, and it really is one of your better planets. It rules this 5th house, which is the zone of karma, past karma right now. So going backwards is also, in a sense, a karmic process, a revision of your relationships, what the relationship is based upon. These are the big issues for you in 2021, Leo. Eventually it will move out, but not till the very, very end of the year, 29th of December, it goes direct back into this 8th house. It's only then that you'll be able to really feel comfortable in that level of intimacy and sexuality, which is what this 8th house is about. We see your idealism there by this very long-standing transit of Neptune. But the good news is that Saturn, which is the ruler of your 7th house, along with Uranus, of relationships, will, with Jupiter, move into that triangular aspect, a very favourable aspect, bringing you fulfillment. You have to work out, however, with this square between Jupiter and Uranus, and Saturn and Uranus too, whether you're going to follow a conventional mode of relationships or whether you're going to change that. It could well be too a left of field sort of thing where your partner decides that they want something completely different. They want to approach the relationship in a different way. In other words, the terms and conditions, which always apply, will start to change. Now that will of course require a lot of negotiation. I'll talk about that in the more detailed analysis at the site, but quickly here you see that when Mercury and the Sun move into Aquarius, which is in January, and that goes up to February, you'll see that the negotiation aspect of the relationship ramps up. That's the Mercurial and Sun side of things. That's your ruling planet, and Mercury. 2nd house of finance, speech. Also, in some cases, they say this has to do with one's family. So these are very important developments. Definitely a fulfilling stage coming, but you've got to get over all of these hurdles first. There's also some eclipses that I quickly wanted to talk about, which I think are important for you. And the first is a lunar eclipse, 26th of May, in the sign of Sagittarius. Now that, again, is the 5th house. The eclipses always take place on the nodal axis. I wanted to mention also that that's going to trigger the career planet, Venus, in this 5th house. 5th house is also a house of past karma, but it's also a very, very creative house. And Venus, being a loving planet, shows us that there's a lot of loving creativity that's going to be released during and after the eclipse of the 26th of May. There's another eclipse, a solar eclipse, straight after that eclipse on the 10th of June, taking place here in the 11th house. You see that it's oscillating between these two houses. Love affairs, friendship. You've got all the relationship stuff here and the career. Mainly the relationship side of things are what you're going to be working out throughout the next 12 months. There is another eclipse on the 19th of November in Taurus. That's going to trigger that aspect of your work that we've been talking about. And that lunar eclipse in Taurus is a very powerful one. What this means is that the nodes are going to shift their position during the year. All this 11th house stuff, which is, the desire for friendship, sociability, shift, and there's going to be an even bigger impact there in the 10th house of career. You're going to have greater desires for that. That desire nature will shift. Mars, of course, as I've mentioned, is going to move through that area early in the year, January, February, March. That's going to trigger all this part of your horoscope. But the eclipse of the 19th of November is really going to cement all of those big changes that you're looking to make in terms of your relationships, but specifically in the area of your workplace relationships. The final eclipse is on the 4th of December, again back here in the sign of Sagittarius, and that's right at the tail end of the year, again bringing with it it's a solar eclipse, so it is these solar eclipses are the ruling planet for Leo. That can affect your health. You have to be very, very careful. That's also shown by the 6th house transits of these quick moving bodies, Mercury and the Sun, but that super long-standing transit of Pluto, which transforms you through the work you do. It also transforms you through the way that you shift your lifestyle throughout the coming 12 months. So these are what I would say the key points for you throughout the coming year. There is an interesting square aspect again at the very tail end of the year between this conservative Saturn ruling your relationships and Uranus also ruling your relationships. So I don't think you're going to be able to fully work through this. It's more or less a reconnaissance mission for you throughout 2021, really gauging where you want to take your relationships and how you want to present yourself to the world through the mechanism of change. And that is the theme. I've said it in the introductory video: embracing change and letting go of resistance. Do go over to the site astrology.com.au, subscribe here, drop me a line if you want a more personal reading. This is the perfect time to find out exactly how this is playing out for your specific time and place of birth. And I look forward to seeing you in February for the resumption of the monthlies, which I do month by month. Do have a happy new year, stay safe, and I look forward to your company then. Bye bye now.